pies, and welcome to another episode of My Slice of Life. I'm your host, Madison Bellissimo, and I'm joined with a dear friend, Miss Isabella Björkman. Hello.
Hello.
And let me give some specs on Isabella, and I call her Bella sometimes. So if I slip up at some point and say Bella, it's just because...
Call me Bella.
Call me Bella.
Call me by your name.
Oh my God. I love this tension already that we have. That is, I think it's very reminiscent. Also, I have to say really quick, I was watching Eclipse last night. So Bella's really on the mind,
Perfect.
I'm sorry if I know that you're a fan as well. We've talked about
Love.
Twilight in the past, but I do have to say some specs on you is that you are an actor as well, and you are also the youngest person that's come on my podcast, and I'm so excited.
I just had to break a record of some sort.
Yeah.
So when I texted you last night, I was like, also, am I the youngest on your podcast yet?
And I said, yes, you are. Yes, you are. You are. And I honestly laughed out loud when you sent that because I was like, it was the tenacity of like, I need to break a record. I was like, game recognized game. I was like, I'm the same exact way. And then also I was like, she's right. She's like 100% right. And she's going to be the youngest, most sprightly guest I've ever had. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. As we all do, or as I do for all of my guests that come on, I baked for you.
Amazing.
You gave me a couple of options.
Yeah.
You were like, I could go for an apple pie, an apple crisp. I could go for maybe a cheesecake, a blondie, a brownie. I was like, my girl's eclectic. I love this.
Yeah.
Like you set really, really attainable and lovely goals for me, and I appreciate that.
Okay, good.
And then I went with apple crisp because it just sounded so good. I was like,
it smells like heaven.
Yeah, when you walked into the house, didn't it like it? Like I walked out to get you and come back in, and I was like, it smells like a pie in here. Yeah,
I thought that you had like a good like scented candle.
Yeah, just a sweet little like Yankee Candle apple crisp.
100%.
Yeah,
this is if Yankee Candle had that. Maybe they have.
They probably do, honestly, during the fall season. They're like, yeah.
I mean, you could just bake pies and put it in everyone's windows.
I think it makes your house smell so good.
Yeah.
And yeah, I hope you like it. I provided you with a spoon and a fork just in case you wanted to.
I was going to say, what do you do?
I'm going to do fork, I think. But I wanted in case the ice cream, because obviously I included some McConnell's vanilla ice cream.
Stunning.
Let's do first bite.
Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was exactly the flavor palette I wanted.
Speechless.
Speechless. I love you're giving ASMR so deeply, and I like truly am in love. I love it so much.
Wait, Madison.
Yes,
how
Bella.
did you do this?
I can't explain how easy this was, and I know that sounds like I'm being a pretentious asshole right now.
Yeah, but you also bake all the time.
That's true, but this is like a very attainable recipe, and I think most people, if you want to at home bake this, I'll send you the recipe deets because, wow.
Please, this is, I mean, wow.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, the crumble is so crispy.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
And then the apples are so soft and gooey.
I need to pay you to come on every episode so that you can just give me such sweet and positive feedback. I appreciate it. I had to use a Honeycrisp apple. I have to be honest with you. Do you have a favorite apple?
Honestly, not really.
Mm-hmm.
I used to eat a lot of Pink Lady when I was.
Pink Lady is a classic,
right?
Yeah, I think that's a good apple to have like every day.
But I don't know if I feel like I've grown out of the Pink Lady. Maybe I'm just gonna venture out to the Honeycrisp now.
Maybe you're a Pink Lady girl. Maybe you're a Honey Crisper. I don't know. I mean, I only lately, like the last couple years, started using Honeycrisp like exclusively. And again, I'm just making myself sound like a pretentious asshole. I'm like, I have a favorite apple, and this is my favorite apple. I used to like
love that for
Golden Delicious when I was a kid. And I think it's the yellow thing. Like I've always really enjoyed yellow things. And I think I liked
I
it.
see that.
Oh no, it's a little obvious. It's a little on the nose.
I like this.
Well, thank you. Thank you for being here. And I tell most of my guests that you can dive in at any point. Don't feel
Perfect.
shy. You can dive into the
You're just gonna hear me chew
chew.
the entire episode.
Honestly, there's a portion of this podcast that is ASMR.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I don't have to feel
No.
self-conscious about it.
Not at all. Not at all.
Awesome.
Okay, great. So we're going to get into our questions now that I ask my guests, which I prepped you with.
Yeah,
I don't know.
you did.
Okay. I try to do that with everyone, obviously. I do it with everyone, but I want
Very good hosting.
I appreciate it. I could probably do a little more, but I try to keep it organic at the same time. Like I don't want to know your answers before you come on.
Yeah.
And I don't.
It's funny
frankly.
because when you texted me last night, I was like, oh. And then I got so many, like I had so many thoughts about
Yeah.
these questions. And
Yeah.
I was like, I want to just like talk to you about them. And then I was like about to text you about them.
Yeah,
And I
be
was
like,
like,
"Can I?"
this is not, I'm like ruining the whole thing. Like,
It's not ruining the concept because I think a lot of people want to like reinforce the idea of it. Like I get
Yeah.
a lot of people that will reach out to me and they're like, do you think this would be a good angle? You know?
Right,
And I'm
right.
like, absolutely. I'm like, any angle that you're passionate about that
okay, good.
is authentic to you,
Mm-hmm.
in my book, a good angle. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited to hear your answers.
Oh, thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you. And you've been listening. You texted me and you've been listening to the pod. So
have,
now
yeah.
now you get to listen to yourself next week.
Stunning.
Stunning. Okay, so first question is if your current season of life was a genre of media, movie, TV, film, video games, any of those things, what genre would it be? And then what would the audience be screaming at you?
I mean, it's so I listened to Ariana and you talking
Mhm.
and saying that this was like, coming of age. I mean, I feel like that's the case.
Sure.
Like-
Absolutely. I think that's very, very poignant. Like this time of life is that.
Right. And I mean, because when I first moved here, it was very much like it wasn't, I'm going to find, who I am and find myself.
Mhm.
I moved to LA 2.5 years ago
Mhm.
from Sweden.
Mhm.
And when I did, I was like, I am so confident in who I am.
Yeah.
And like, I am so sure of myself that like, I'm just coming here for acting and that's all,
Mhm.
And then 2.5 years have gone and I'm like, oh, I think I'm entering a new era where I'm developing, Like
Mhm.
I am in a molding stage now.
Oh, okay. I love that.
Yeah.
I think molding is there's so much to say about what you just said. I first of all want to highlight you just so sweetly like brush past that you moved all the way from Sweden.
I did.
And it's because it's no big deal to you, but for most people listeners, they'd be like, Sweden? Hello?
It's far.
Yeah. Holy shit. What a different culture. What a different language. Like you moved here
Mhm.
and that was the courage it takes and the bravery it takes to move from your hometown,
Yeah.
let alone a completely different country, culture, family,
Right.
to come to a different like pretty much different planet, it feels like, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to be dramatic about it, but I think there are definitely very stark differences between America and Sweden that
I think there's a lot of differences between East Coast and West Coast.
even, yeah. So that's such a good point. So
Yeah.
to even get here and have such a beautiful passion and ambition to come, like that's what you're following and that's why you came.
Yeah.
That's such a admirable thing. I'm
Thank
truly
you.
truly impressed by it every day, and I think you're quintessential. I'm just going to brag about you very quickly. You're the quintessential like very cool Swedish girl, and I don't want that to come off
Oh.
as like a stereotypical awful thing,
I
but
love being a
I'm-
cool Swedish girl.
you truly are like the epitome of like I don't like every time like style comes up, taste comes up, I want to know your opinion on it.
Oh, you're
No,
so sweet.
It's true. I'm like, I feel like you have such an incredible eye for things. It's like, again, style, your taste in food and music and film. Like every time we've talked about things, I'm just constantly in awe of like how you present yourself and how you come off. It's so effortlessly chic, and
Oh,
that's your
thank
your
you.
taste as well to me. So, I just wanted to say that sidebar because I feel like if people haven't met you, this is their first,
Right.
like I'm
Right.
sure people are seeing this. You're wearing this like stylish oversized shirt. For the
Oh
people
my
that are
God.
just listening, let me know. But like you have this perfect slick back look. It's like you just have this air about you that is so wonderful. And I as a friend, I'm like, oh my God, how do I emulate certain things that Bella brings to the
Yeah.
table? Like it's a very cool thing, and I hope you know how cool you are.
Thank you. I mean, I think that's also one thing of like moving here and like getting to know yourself more as
Hmm.
well is like I didn't think that about
Yeah,
myself. I still don't. I'm having trouble processing myself in the way that other people see me,
sure.
I guess.
Perception of you.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I think my self-perception is kind of like I don't know, tilted, like a little like,
Yeah, totally.
I don't and then I just hear these wonderful like,
Yeah.
comments about
Yeah.
myself and I'm like, "Oh,
You're like, what, where, how do they see that?
yeah.
And I think, first of all, that is so relatable. I think most people really are so far away from their self perception to the world perception,
Yeah.
right? But I think you made such a good point of saying you're feeling so moldable right now,
Yeah.
right? And I think this is a prime example of it. Like,
Yeah.
I think being moldable and wanting to be molded, right, is such a great place to be because it's
Yeah.
like
Honestly.
a positive, like I want to learn, I want to change, I'm open, you
It's
know.
really like freeing in a
Hmm.
way to just accept that like I'm just so open to not changing my personality or like my core beliefs, but
Hmm.
just, getting to know my value and getting to know what I stand for and, who I am, but also like getting to know the fact that like I am making mistakes
Hmm.
and that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
Like,
again, that molds your next
yeah,
path, like
yeah,
that influences the things that you are going to continue doing, the things that you're going to avoid.
yeah.
Like you're like, I will never touch that again. You're like,
I
uh,
listened to this like sort of psycho like therapist Swedish
yeah.
woman who just had a summer talk in the Swedish radio and she talked about training your mind and how curiosity is such a good way to train your mind
Mm-hmm.
and how that like when we grow older curiosity kind of fades. We're not as curious as when we were kids.
Totally.
And the people who can maintain their curiosity, that kind of like gives them like it kind of fuels their creativity, everything. So I feel like that too, like being curious about doing wrong and like not doing wrong, but you
Yeah,
get what I mean?
but feeling the fear that would
Yeah.
usually overcome people,
Yeah.
I would argue, of failing
Yeah.
or making a mistake or doing misstepping to
Hmm.
some degree, you're kind of inspired by that, right? You're
Yeah.
like, fuck it, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Like that's where your curiosity lies, is like in the journey of learning the next thing about yourself.
Right.
That journey of discovering yourself better, molding into this every day is a new Isabella.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
think that's such a truly wonderful place to be. And I know that it can feel daunting. Of course, there's going to be days that like the POV of that can be so drastic. Like
Yeah.
it can come from a very dark place where you're like, "Oh my god, I know nothing. What's going
For
on?
sure.
I
Hmm.
feel like I'm a shell of a person, right?" I don't think you're that at all, but I'm saying I think you can put that
Yeah.
POV on that curiosity, right? Or lack of, you replace it.
For sure. And also, like, I think I just had my mind on like this super straight path, as I
Mhm.
think a lot of people do. And
Mhm.
I think that path can sometimes be connected to like perfection,
Mhm.
like I'm coming here and then I'm going to study this year and then I'm going to, work for this long and then I'm going to get, I'm going to have an agent by this time and
Yeah.
I'm going to, and then like the perfection of it all. I mean, it's almost like navigating being a perfectionist
Yeah.
in a super stormy
Yeah.
sea,
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I don't know what the science is here, I'd be very curious to look it up. But I find it so funny that so many artists are perfectionists.
Yeah.
And it's like in every forum too, like, or like, every media type, any kind of
Oh,
like
yeah.
even painters, sculptors, photographers. But I mean, predominantly I'm surrounded by mostly performers, actors, dancers, singers, what have you. And it's just so often
Yeah.
that these people, including myself, have a like extremely healthy dose of perfectionism.
Yeah.
And I just find it so interesting because how are we expected to do our art when we're, preventing ourselves from experiencing certain things
Yeah.
because it's like, well, that's not perfect. We can't put that out because it's not perfect. It's not perfectly polished.
Yeah.
And I just find that interesting. I really just want you to know that the sentiment you expressed, you're not alone. I
Yeah.
think so many people feel that way. And also, isn't it really cool that even with that like daunting cloud of perfectionism, you're still choosing to do it?
Right. It's like you're a masochist.
Yeah.
You're like,
you love the pain.
yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
I step on a set and I'm like, I love the pain. I love
Yeah.
the pain.
It's true.
I've been joking about that as well. Like, I think since you are a perfectionist, like, I don't know, when you every time I step on a new set of
Yeah.
something, the hardest thing for me is doing things that doesn't have any lines. Like,
Yeah.
like the short film that I
Yeah.
did with you guys.
Yeah.
My very first scene, the very first day, was to put down a tray and like
Mhm.
prepare like a breakfast tray.
Yeah.
And my mind just went like, because I was like, okay, what do you want me to? So do you want me to start with the muffin? How do you do you want me to walk? Should I put the candle where? Like,
Mhm.
it was just like the smallest thing of walking was for me as a perfectionist. Like, how do you
Yes.
want me to walk?
Yeah.
You know?
It's debilitating.
Yeah.
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 I think I totally agree with you. It's so funny, particularly on that set. I had a semi different experience, and I don't want to erase what you experienced just because I had, in my opinion, you had such a high stakes. You were the soul and like heart of that project. Like you and Hannah were
Ah,
like the two leads,
God.
and it was about this heartbreaking relationship.
Yeah.
And myself and Ari were in this project as well. Our friend that has also been on the pod, as you mentioned, and we were like supporting but fun. Like it was so wild and like comedic too. I love comedy, so it was like
Me
I
too.
had a my POV was like, let's fucking have fun.
Right.
And that's usually never the case on set. I am like so meticulously like, even if it's usually like a
Me
happy
too.
roll or something like that, I'm like a fucking robot. I'm like, yeah, lunch, cool. Let me just eat enough that
Yeah.
I can like get by and like function, but
Yeah.
I'm barely functioning like mentally. Like I am so in the project or like trying to be, but I'm like white knuckling it, right?
Yeah.
Like it makes me, I would say, I don't think this is the case for you, but I've seen it stunt my performance sometimes because I'm like,
Oh, interesting.
I'm white knuckling it so hard.
Mm.
But I will say there's something to be said about, I also think perfectionism can really benefit us in ways
Yeah.
of, now you're not thinking of walking like it's casual or whatever. You're like, how would this character walk?
Yeah.
How would she take 2 steps into an apartment she's never been into?
I think it's the directions without any lines that are hard for
Mhm.
me, because as soon as you put lines in there, it's like the stakes are higher,
Mhm.
and it's something that I kind of just let it flow.
Mhm.
So that for me, but I am a perfectionist in a way that as well, that when I'm on set and I'm overstepping my boundaries so hard, and like I am just like trying to hold it to myself, but I just want to like, I'm like looking at the scripty. I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm looking at like, I'm like keeping track, like where am I holding this? What am I doing that? Like,
Yeah.
and to the point where I'm like, I should just be quiet for a second.
No.
But then when we were doing the short film, Ia was like, honestly, you saved me like
Yeah.
a few
Really?
times.
'Cause you were,
she was like,
you
I
knew the
completely forgot.
continuity.
Yeah. She was like, I
Yeah.
completely forgot about that. So
See? And that's huge. And
Right.
you were responsible for your own work. Because sometimes, again, because we have scripty, because we have so many people that are like supposed to be other.
Yeah.
Their job is to focus on that. Our job is to naturally act and try and mimic it every
Yeah.
time, right? But sometimes you put something on tape, the first take, it's the wide. And then you go to the close-up right. They're like, great, got it. And you're like, wait, I just made a choice that I don't know if I want. You're like, fuck, I need to drink every time I do this fucking scene now. So to hear that you did that, I think that's so, so fantastic that you were able to have the cerebral side of it where you were going like, this is not just a art form that I'm being very meticulous with my movements. And I know when I did that. And I think it is to your benefit. Like now when E is cutting this, she's not going to have to struggle because there was lack of continuity, you know? Yeah. And that just shows how professional you are as an actor. So again, it's hard. That's where perfectionism, I feel like, gets
it's like when you're at a work interview and they're like, what's your biggest weakness?
Yeah.
And you're like, I would say it might be that I'm just such a perfectionist.
No, truly though.
And make it sound good.
It's like a what's it called? Like not like a backhanded compliment, but it's like it's a constructive criticism for yourself. You're like, I mean, it's not horrible, but it's bad. But I'm actually so good at acting because of it.
It's the humble brag.
Yeah. It's just like, and I've really done well because of it. I think you're allowed to though. Like, you know your worth. Like, you know what you do, and you know how you come to a set. Fuck yeah, you should be like. And I'm really.
I mean, listen, I'm all for it. I think you're allowed, but I also do think that like some points, like you don't want to overstep, especially that director.
Sure.
Actor, you know, balance. Yeah. And like hierarchy.
Yeah. I think it's one thing. I think you're always allowed to try and say something. And if it's really poorly received and they like shut it down, then move on. Sure. But I will say that I think directors and actors, like, you're allowed to have that relationship where I think not challenging, so to speak, but something where if you feel a certain way where you're like, this is off. I don't think my character would do this. I feel like when we shot it before, it was more this mood. Like, you have every right to do that.
Yeah.
In my opinion. You know, I think obviously, like, the pushback, you can chill. But, like, if they're collaborative in the way that they would hopefully be, I think you have every right. That's the dynamic of that relationship.
Yeah. No, for sure. And I'm never there to like challenge anyone.
Yeah.
I do think that the way of my like the perfectionism that I can hold on to sometimes and like the sort of like have to control like the control issues or like the control like need.
Totally.
That for me is so funny sometimes when I'm like just like this bag was on the left hand side.
Yeah,
totally. Which is like it's funny and I think in a way it just really shows that I have heart, like you said, in the production and you know,
you have so much heart. Like, you are so deeply connected to your art, and
thank you.
It was such a privilege working with you. I loved working with you. And I think that's why we bonded after. That's why we became friends, you know, like as we did this project together. And I just feel like we really hit it off. And again, it was something that I deeply admired who you were as a person. So I was like, that's the type of people you want to be friends with. You know, you're like,
ditto.
I want to emulate things that you are, the kind of person that you how you treat people, how you professionally are. And again, more specifically your heart and, you know, how open you are. So yeah, I would say that is something that's so evident in your work. So I don't think anyone would ever, even if you were like, I think the bag was, no one's gonna be like, Bella, stop. You'd be like, oh, thank you, Bella.
Swear to God, Bella, if you say one more thing about that bag, I'm gonna lose you from this project.
You're blackballed. You're off.
You're gone. You're done.
Literally. You're done in this city. That would be absolutely asinine. That would not happen. But I understand that like hesitancy to do that. Yeah. But I will say, now that we've talked about this being like a molding theme for you, like you are a beautiful butterfly coming out of your cocoon, I will say.
Sure, I am cocooning
a little cocooned butterfly. What would you say the audience is screaming at you?
Oh, God. You know, I've heard what everyone else says, and I think everyone has such good answers.
Well, it is fun because I think there's some, I was reflecting with my partner the other day. We were saying how there's been thematically like a lot of people, and I think it's comforting to hear and vindicating to hear that a lot of people are sharing the same sentiment. They're like, get out of your own way. I'm
Yeah.
fucking up. I'm doing the like I'm
Yeah.
being too hard on myself. And I don't know what you're about to say, but that's what I think is so funny.
I mean, I guess it's the things that you're like, maybe is too hard to hear yourself say, but if you can think about it, an
Yeah.
audience screaming it to you, then
Mhm.
it's really like a reality check.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I think it's back to your earlier point of like sometimes it's so hard to hold your self perception as opposed to the outward like
Yeah.
outsiders perception. And I really loved this question just personally. That's why I put it in the pod. Because I think it's one of those times where it challenges, is this just your self perception? Or do you really
Yeah.
think if people had a POV of you, like if
Right.
they were watching your life, what would they feel? So yeah, what do you have any?
I was thinking about it, and
Mhm.
I do think that like the some audience would like really hold. I mean, hold the TV or wherever they're watching, shake it, and be like. I mean, it's the kind of things that you don't tell yourself, but it's like really obvious, like you
Yeah.
said, like moving here and like following something
Yeah.
that is unconventional, especially coming from like a small country.
Totally.
Like someone just being like, hey, be nice to yourself. Like,
Yeah.
do you realize like what you have done these past
Mhm.
2
Yeah.
years? And like know your own value. Like
Yeah.
you've grown, you're molding, you're doing all these things. Just go get them, you know?
Yeah. I love that. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. And I think so many people need to hear that because so many people are so hard on themselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
And as your friend, it's, I'm so proud hearing that you
Thank
can get to that point where you're like, no, when I put it outside of myself, I see that
Yeah.
I've done well. I am courageous. I'm brave as hell. I
Right.
work my ass off. I like show up so authentically to so many things. And to be able to value that, right? And see that, recognize that. But it also kind of breaks my heart at the same time because it's like, it's so sad. We all are so hard on ourselves.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, if you just saw, my compliments that were front loaded at the top of this episode may have seemed like, oh, wow, she's being super complimentary. That's how I feel about you. And that's completely authentic. And maybe
Yeah.
you wouldn't know that, and I would say I'm kind of a total ham when it comes to, I love complimenting people. I do it. If I have a good thought about someone, I try to share it. But I will say, like, if half of the people knew what other people were thinking about
Yeah.
them, particularly the nice thoughts, because I think we always assume it's a bad thought or a judgment.
Right.
But to know how people see us through this beautiful lens of this
Yeah.
like really warm, like appreciation,
Yeah.
you'd probably be standing taller. You'd be like,
For sure.
I'm doing this.
And I feel like I have to say, ever since coming on to the project that our friend did and meeting all of you, incredible women. Like, I also have to say that listening to your podcast and hearing the guests that have been on, I mean, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, do you have great friends or not? Like, that's crazy.
This is just this whole passion project is a humble brag about my.
It literally is. I've been listening to every single one of them,
Yeah.
and everyone are just so. And it's not just that they're ambitious because they are, but they're also humble and smart. And I'm including you in this.
Thank you. That's very sweet.
Humble and smart and so loving and like you said, authentic. And it is just such like a power to be a part of that. Like you do really feel unstoppable being, surrounding yourself in a network like that.
Yeah. And like trying to mirror yourself, right? Like,
Yeah.
I see it as, and I've said this from, I will always claim this. I'm like, I try to surround myself by like the smartest people. I want to be the like least smart, least beautiful,
Yeah.
and not in a self-deprecating way, but I'm like, if I surround myself with the people that I admire most,
Yeah.
and I respect, like utmost respect, I empathize with who they are. Like I'm just like truly moved by who they are.
Yeah.
Then it rubs off on you. It's
Yeah.
like it's just your environment. It naturally does. And so I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, and oh my God, isn't that great as well to be able to be in a group of women that are all in the same kind of business
Mm-hmm.
and just
lifting.
and just be able to like be happy and grow with them instead of like feeling this competitive, because I've gone down that road. Still go down that road all the
Sure.
time,
Mhm.
comparing myself,
Mhm.
thinking that, oh my God, they're doing this. Why am I not doing that?
Mhm.
Stressing about that.
Yeah.
But like, how great is it to be in a group where like everyone is just like growing
Yeah.
and everyone ends up at, different places, but we're
Yeah.
all still just finding our way.
Yeah. Well, I think it's so natural, first of all, to
Yeah.
compare yourself. I don't think it's necessarily healthy. That's one of my least favorite things that I do from day to
Mm.
day. I truly, truly sympathize with that. But I will say it is quite natural. And I will say, when you're in this kind of situation where you can appreciate your friends and you see, and it is just a camaraderie,
Yeah.
actually, at the end of the day, it's not a competition. And you naturally will see people find their niche. Like you
Mhm.
see people finding, there's been so many times where, like, from college, we were told it's like the person to your left and to your right are your competition,
Yeah.
and they're like, you're trying to beat everyone out for a role.
Yeah.
And there's been so many times where, like, I have auditioned for something that my friend is also auditioning for. And sometimes we'll both be like, well, we're both not right for this. Or you'll be like, you're so right for this. If you don't play this,
Yeah.
I'll fucking call the director personally.
Yeah.
And it's so cool to see that happen. A weird example of this is we just did a clothing exchange with some of the girls in the group. Like, we were all getting rid of our clothes. It was just something that was like really sweet. And instead of donating them, we like, a couple of us had a free time. We got together.
Amazing. Mhm.
And I just found it so funny because so many of us were like, would grab something that we've worn for years or something that we liked or something that we bought and never wore. And we were like throwing it at our friends, like, Bella, this would look so good on you.
Yeah.
It's like just the sweetness, the tenderness of like actually trying to champion your friend.
Yeah.
And like, it's as small as clothing, right? That's not a big deal, but it's just that nature
Yeah.
is a through line through the group. And a huge part of why I wanted to do this was highlight people like yourself that I find so sensational and so inspiring,
Right.
that maybe, I think, I have no doubt that you will be able to share that light for the rest of your days in acting and otherwise.
Oh,
But
you're
for the
so sweet.
people that don't get to see that or like haven't gotten exposed to that yet, I'm like, see Bella, right? I'm like, look at how cool she is. Look at how fun she is. Like, look at how brilliant her perspective is. And yeah, I'll get off my soapbox a little, but I do appreciate that you're seeing that and you're receiving that as like someone watching the pod, because that's the goal.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad to hear that.
No, of course. It's very, very clear that
Mhm.
you have a little pedestal and
I'm
you
like,
just like,
come on up.
yeah, you just like hustle people up there. And I
Yeah.
think that's just very, um, I mean, amicable for you as a friend to do,
Mm.
and
Mhm.
yeah, it's great.
Thank you. Well, thank you. And again, I just appreciate you spending so much time with me today. And I love our hangout. So this
Me
was a
too.
double treat.
Right.
But I will say, I want to lead us back into the questions. So we're going to
Mhm.
go to our second question, which is, what materialistic item, mantra, moment that you've had lately really brought you like pure joy? Think simple pleasure, something that grounds you.
Yeah.
You can give me an answer for all of them or just one, whatever you feel.
It's funny that you should say that because I've been recently trying to sort of rewire my brain and like train my brain out of optimism and like courage and curiosity
Okay.
and kind of just, I don't know, doing these tiny little things every day that sort of makes me like rewire my brain
Mm-hmm.
essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those things is to wake up
Mm-hmm.
and think exactly about this question. Like, what are the things, that makes me happy?
Yeah.
Or what are the small things in life that just, that I can boost my optimism, but also like curiosity with,
Yeah. Just naturally, like it's like a plant. You're like,
Yeah.
I need water, sunlight, and a good playlist.
Yeah.
You're like, I grow and I thrive in this environment. What is the thing that really makes me feel grounded in this happiness, this
Yeah.
innate happiness and joy?
Yeah.
I think that's such a beautiful thing.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
out of like all of that, like optimism is sort of this thing that um it's in your brain, and it's kind of like you can think about it as like a small winding road in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
and then the more you think the same optimistic thought, the
Mm-hmm.
road kind of expands, and all of a
Mm.
sudden you end up on a highway of optimism in your brain.
Okay.
And it's so cool how like the brain works. I've been trying to think about that, like what are the happiness of
Yeah.
things.
While you're
um
building your highway of optimism. I love that. That's such a
yeah,
beautiful like visual. And it's
yeah,
true because your neural pathways, you're right. Like the more you use the same neural path, like and it reinforces the
exactly.
accessibility of that and the I think the readiness of that.
Yeah.
So
So all of the tiny things, I mean, even from just the mundane things of doing the dishes,
yeah.
I'm just like stopping, and I'm trying to think like I'm where I want to be right now.
Mm.
I'm with my partner at
Mm-hmm.
home. I'm doing dishes because we made a great dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm just here. I'm just trying to be in the moment.
Yeah.
All that to say, I think that finding those tiny bits of optimism in your everyday life like really does bring me joy. And that also brings me to the curious part,
Yeah.
like just looking a little further and wondering like who made this dish soap, or like
Sure.
how does this work, or
Yeah.
like where does this drain go. Like it's the tiniest little things, but like I said before, curiosity really breeds like creativity.
Mm.
And yeah, just that gets me spinning, and it's just the like that gives me the tiny moments of joy in
Tiny
life.
moments of joy. I
Yeah,
love that, the simple
honestly.
joys. I mean, yeah, I think absolutely what you're saying. People would probably describe it as emotional regulation
Yeah.
and a grounding exercise. I think that's like exactly what you're describing would beget more moments like that
Yeah.
because you're getting in your body, you're feeling the things like even that attention to detail of the soap, the drain, the like knowing that you're with your partner and that you're in your home.
Yeah.
It's these things of comfort that ground you and taper you to reality, right? That taper you to a sense of belonging, right?
Yeah.
So you go like, "Oh, okay, I'm here and everything's good." And it regulates you and it makes you feel like you can actually appreciate the joy.
Yeah.
Because I think when we're going too far into like optimization or like you're trying to just get everything done.
Yeah.
You're trying so hard and the best way I can describe it is buzzing. Like it feels like you're a bee that's just like going, 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 going.
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't have the time to stop and smell the flowers, you know? You don't actually
Yeah.
actively do that. And so when you can take a moment to take stock and be like, okay, what feels good for me right now? Is
Mm-hmm.
it this chair? Does this chair feel soft? You know,
Right.
like, that is something that just simplifies the joy.
Yeah.
And then it makes it more accessible for you.
And you know what is so funny as well? Not that I am like thinking about that. Like it kind of just popped in my head, but all of these things are also what makes actors so great.
It's
Like all of the
true.
best actors,
Yeah.
I feel like can just go there and be
Mhm.
like, "Oh, like she looks pissed off. Why does she look pissed off?
Yeah.
Okay, like we're going with it. We're
Yeah.
doing, you know."
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that the sort of curiosity and the optimism also leads me to my third point, which is being more courageous and trying more things,
Yeah.
which is like that's what I feel like, especially the 20s and like mid 30s, like up to mid 30s. That's what it's for, just trying new things, because we don't really have anything that's holding us back.
No. What else would, tether us to that,
Yeah.
know? Or I think it creates more opportunity
Yeah.
to find yourself and to mold,
Yeah.
to your earlier words. When you are courageous and you try new things and you expose yourself to so many things, you're just going to fine tune on your taste and what you like and what feels good for you in every regard, like
Right.
let alone acting,
Yeah.
like, but in this particular sentiment, acting, you're able to, like, I always thought it's so funny that actors, I think foolishly, in my opinion, sometimes only study acting.
Mm.
I find it like quite ridiculous when
Yeah.
people are like only in classes and they only do scene work and they only study, like types of acting,
Yeah.
you know, philosophies, I'm like, go take a cooking class. Like, go
Look at
like,
people.
yeah, go kite surf, go people watch.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's how you're going to be able to mimic or put yourself in the shoes and empathize with others in order to bring it a reality. Because if you don't have any lived experiences
Yeah.
to pull from, you're kind of a vacant
For sure.
person, you know?
And I definitely, when I first moved out here and I was, you know, putting together my actor's reel and kind of like building a resume of what I've done, my acting teacher was like, "Oh, just lie and say that you've done this and that in Sweden. You know, you can just say that you've done theater in Sweden or whatever." And just to like, you know, put something, and I know that a lot of people do that. Like a lot of
Sure.
people just say like, "Oh, I did some acting there." But the truth is, I've come from no acting experience at all. It started here. However, I've really realized that now that I put in years of traveling in my young age. Like I've seen a lot of countries, a lot of people,
Yep.
very different. Like I've gone, you know, in hostels and backpacks, but I've also gone on like more high end, like to high end places where you meet different people. And that is truly where, you know, I think Morgan Freeman says this. He said this in an interview. The best thing you can do is like read books.
Yeah.
Get to know people, talk to people, watch people.
Because then you have a perspective. Then you're able to do it. You're not just reading a script and guessing that people would feel this way. You can relate it to your own experiences or other people's experiences that you've read or been exposed to, or it's a friend or it's a stranger you talked to at a bus stop once.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, it's the same when you get casted for something. Like if you do a good self-tape or if you do a good audition and people like what they see on screen, does it matter if I studied theater in Sweden or not? If I have a education in arts? Because I'm the same as I am on screen. That's just, you know, what I've put forward. So
it shouldn't be this heavy like buy-in. Like you
Right.
shouldn't have to be like, I went and did Shakespeare in the Park in New York and I did that.
Right.
You know, you don't have to do all these things.
all that to say, experience is still experience.
Incredible.
Of course.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes,
And
like,
I think it's something you can be proud of, but I don't
Yes.
think it should be the price of admission.
no.
So
Agreed.
yeah, I'm just glad that I'm not surprised that we share this same sentiment, but
Right.
it is so funny to me because I feel like it's more often than not, I think people lose sight of what's really important in grounding that. So, and even in your everyday life, like you expressed earlier. So,
Yeah.
and I think this perfectly leads us into the last question, which is, what kind of advice or life lesson that might have thrown you a curveball? Maybe it was just something you wouldn't have thought Bella would relate to today that you want to pass on or instill in others.
I've been thinking about this question. I have so many life lessons.
So many life lessons. But that's great. That's beautiful. It shows how fruitful your life is.
Right. No, I've been thinking a lot, and I think my lesson sort of stems from this one single thing, which is like, you can say no. Period.
No, period is a sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can say no.
Yeah.
I just have kind of explored that more and more recently. And I've learned like the hard way. And I do think that coming into this industry, a lot of people want to exploit you. A lot of people that see that maybe you don't know your own value
Yeah.
want to take advantage of that. And they're fast with doing it because, you know, they just jump on it to do it. And I've definitely feel like I have been burned and I have been exploited. And you feel so stupid when that happens and you blame yourself so hard.
Yeah.
And you look back and you're like, wait a second, like I thought about this before this happened to me and my stomach said no, but I didn't say no. I did not say no. You know what? I don't want to hop on this call.
Yeah.
Or no, I don't want to dress that way, or
I don't want to accept this role. I don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this on camera. And to just be able to say no is really liberating.
It is liberating.
Yeah.
And again, talk about courageous.
Yeah.
Yeah. To
Honestly.
like set a healthy boundary like that for yourself.
Yeah.
And know that you can act in your own best interest.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of the time the fear of saying no in those is like you fear, not only fear of missing out, but also a fear of like, I'm going to make a mistake. And or like I'm going to come off a certain way. I'm going to come off disrespectful or rude or anything like that.
Yeah.
But if you're directly going against your moral compass or your gut, you know, the cost is not, it's not worth it.
No.
You know? So, and I think you end up learning that lesson regardless. So
Yeah. And I'm sure I'm going to learn that lesson over and over
as
and
we
over
all do,
again.
as we all do.
You know, there's always things that you can look back at and say, oh, I should have just said no. But it sort of sets this framework for you that you, like when you're allowed to do that and when that you are allowed to say no. And the more and more you just kind of do it,
it's easier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you can say no whenever you want.
Yeah.
They're like, do you want a bag at this grocery store? No, I don't actually. Start with the simple no's that are that are easy for you. And then when they're like, hey, Bella, do you mind doing this kind of simulated sex scene? You're like, no, actually.
No,
I don't want to do that.
Right.
You have every prerogative to say yes. But if you were like, no, that's kind of not what I want to do, that doesn't make you any less committed to your art or your craft or who you are as a person, you know? So if anything, it grounds you deeper in it, in my opinion. So
for sure. And it's like, we were talking about that a little bit in the little break, that I'm shooting a project this weekend and I'm going to a wedding the same weekend.
Yeah.
And I'm shooting on the 3rd and they were like, could you maybe fly on the 2nd? And the whole production is asking me to do this. And I'm like, because the casting came in kind of late as well, so I had already planned to go on this wedding. Yeah. And just
as we do. We
right.
have life.
Yeah.
You know, we have life plans.
Exactly. Yeah. Me trying to be like, and I really wanted to go to this wedding.
Yeah. It's like, you're allowed. You're allowed to be booked out in advance.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and Matt was like, well, what are you going to say? I was like, well, there's really not that much to say. I'm just going to say, no, I cannot fly on the 2nd.
Yeah.
And if they really... Like, if they really are passionate about this project the way I am, I'll tell them I can fly on the 3rd.
Yeah. And if they accept that, they accept that.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, if they accept, he was like, what if they cut you from the movie then? Yeah. I was like, then, I mean, I don't know if I would have want to work with them either then.
Yeah.
I don't know.
If they're that incapable of being flexible, then
yeah. That to say, they were
so
lovely.
So happy.
So
and
accommodating.
I'm so glad you advocated for yourself, because imagine if you would have not told them.
Right.
And then you would have driven home from like wherever you were.
So stressed out.
Stressed out, or either early in the morning or late at night, putting yourself in a dangerous situation just because of a fucking role. Like,
and probably not being able to enjoy my weekend.
Yes. Yeah. It's not worth it. So I'm really glad that you said no in that instance.
Right.
And I think it's brilliant advice.
Yeah,
really.
That's my advice.
Thank you. Well, thank you for coming on to
no,
my
no,
side. No, we're still going. We're gonna keep recording.
Thank you.
No, thank you. I love that you're expressing your life advice and being so polite. But yes, thank you again so much, Bella, for coming on. And I can't wait to have you on again. I think one of the things that I'm really looking forward to with this podcast is having longevity of being able to like revisit these questions and revisit with guests and see like what new season of life they're in. So I'm really looking forward to you coming on again in the future. And I hope you enjoyed your apple crisp. I'm going to send you home with some. So you can give some to your partner.
Loved it so much.
Thank you. And everyone, thank you so much for listening. Please like, subscribe, comment, share, all the things. We will put Bella's socials, if she wants, in the description so you can follow her.
For sure.
And get to see her work. And yeah, thank you all. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye.